Hey guys, my name is Pierluigi and I want to introduce you to Sketch for Mac, which is my favorite design tool and the one that I use all of the time. And basically in this introduction video, I want to empower you with the tools for creating awesome websites, web apps, iOS apps, and much more with Sketch. And I will be going through over the basics and going over the interface and things that will allow you to really understand the software so that you can start creating your first project. So being a design student or someone who already has experience with Sketch, I think you'll find a lot of nuggets which are useful in this video. So let's just jump into it. Hey guys, so after you downloaded the Sketch for Mac, you will be presented with this basic interface, and as you can see, there's three main areas. The top one is the toolbar, in which you can see all of the tools that you can actually use in Sketch. And so for example, if we go on the plus and we click on shape and rectangle, and we just drag around, we can actually create a rectangle directly from this tool. Or if we want to, for example, create a triangle, we can go ahead, click and drag, and here we go. And if we check out on the very left, we can see the pages and the layers panel, which basically allow you to have granular control over each and every layer in the Sketch document. And this is very useful, especially when you're dealing with projects with hundreds and hundreds of layers. Now, in my case, in my day-to-day job, I actually have 8 years of experience working as a UI UX designer. So the type of projects that I usually do are mainly around web apps, websites, and also iOS apps. And from time to time, I might have a project where I have hundreds of screens, and without these panels over here, I would go nuts, seriously, because it's such important to have everything organized and being able to see everything in a very granular way. Now, this is it when it comes for the layers. There's also the ability to add some pages. So if, for example, we add a new page, we can see that everything that we just drawn has disappeared. And the reason why is that everything we did was in page 1. And in page 2, this is a blank page, so we don't have anything over here. And if we click on insert and let's add, for example, a star icon, let's go over to page 1 and we can see the difference because page 1 and page 2 are completely separate. So this is it when it comes to pages. Now let's go back on this very top toolbar, which is one of the core areas of the SketchUp interfaces. And this is where you can have all of the action going. And by the way, you can customize the toolbar by just right-clicking and going on Customize Toolbar, click on it, and as you can see, this menu will open up with a lot of different options, and the way you can customize it is actually very easy. If, for example, you want to add the rectangle tool, you can simply click and drag on it, and you can literally drag it wherever you want in the toolbar, and as you can see, it will space will be created for that rectangle, because yeah, that's just the way it is. And yeah, you can add it, you can remove it, and if, for example, you just messed up the entire toolbar because you added or subtracted too much stuff, and you just want the default one, you can simply click here, drag it, and if I release, I will have the default toolbar. Now, I'm not going to do it in this specific tutorial because yeah, I just want to keep the organization that I have now. There's no way to undo it, but you get the idea. Now, on the right, you can see that here we have the inspector panel, and this is super important because what the inspector panel allows you to do is to actually have granular details over a specific object. So for example, with this star, we can see on the very top of the inspector that we have the X and Y axis. And what this allows you to do is to move the object in space. So if you actually drag around, we can see that these two X and Y axis values will change. And the reason being is that we are literally moving the star in the X and Y axis. So this will adjust accordingly. And if, for example, you wanted to add 20, a value of 20 in the Y, one very cool feature about Sketch is the fact that you can actually press plus over here, and let's do 20, and then let's just press enter. And as you can see, math has happened. It's like a calculator over here. And basically it can do calculations such as basic math, such as adding, subtracting. You can do like minus 100, and it's 161 instead of 261 now. You can also multiply, so if you use the asterisk and we could give it a value of 2 and then press enter, we can see that it has been multiplied by 2. And we can also divide it. If we want to divide it by 3, we can use this symbol over here and then 3 and then press enter. And this is super useful because you can do it in most of the scenarios over here. So for example, if you want to make the width, and by the way, these options over here, the width and the height of the object. So at the moment it's 397. Let's say that we want to make it to 350. We can simply do minus 47. We have it to 350, and then we can divide it by 2, and this is 700. Now let's stop with this math because I hate math personally, but it's super useful to do these things from time to time. So I really wanted to make a point here regarding these abilities and things that you can do. Now let's go to the radius, which is important feature which is specific for the star, and you won't really find this much in other elements such as the rectangle. So for example, we can see that if we create a rectangle over here, and we can apply the radius, but it's going to be a different type of radius. So in the case of the star, it's going to be something that will really morph the shape of it, while in the rectangle it's mainly going to round the corners as suggested over here. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. In the star we also have some options like the adding points, and you're going to see that based on the shape, this part of the inspector might change and might be specific for that specific shape. So this is just something to keep in mind, and something that will change. And let's go on the rectangle again. Let's zoom in, which by the way you can do by using command and using the scroll wheel. So if I keep pressed command and I use the scroll wheel, moving it from the back, you can see that it zooms out, and if I scroll forward it will zoom in. So this is something really useful for just navigating in Sketch, and something that you might keep in consideration. Now another cool thing for navigating around in the artboard is to keep pressing the spacebar, and as you can see the cursor now changed. Donald has this Mickey Mouse hand, and basically you can, while keeping the spacebar pressed, you can just drag your way around, and this is super useful when combined with the command and the scroll wheel, because it allows you for moving around in sketch documents in a very quick, fast and efficient way. And that's basically how I navigate around all of the time, because there's options such as the zoom over here, but I mean, just like having to click here each and every time you move around, I don't know, I don't think it's like the most thrilling experience. So I would definitely recommend you to use the command. And let's go back and select the rectangle, and if we want to change the color of the rectangle, you can simply have to go on the styles, which are over here. So if the fill, if you change the fill color to the color over here, it's going to be reflected in the rectangle. And you can also make gradients. So for example, you can just browse around some gradients that are already predefined, or you can create your custom ones by simply clicking and selecting on one color, and you can change that one color based on the options that you have over here. And yeah, this is basically how you create your custom gradients. You can also adjust the direction of the gradient by just clicking on these tool sets over here. And yeah, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward way to create gradients and different color types in Sketch. Now there's also other options such as the radial gradient and the angular gradient, but myself, I don't really use especially the angular gradient that much. But one thing that I use all the time is the ability to add some images or patterns. So over here you can literally like grab and add images. You can choose an image from your desktop, or another cool thing which I do all the time is using the data feature, which is over here. So if you click on data and you apply, for example, go on under Unsplash, random photo, you can see that now a random photo has been uploaded directly on top of the object, which is pretty cool. And I use this all the time, especially when working on web apps projects or website projects. So if, for example, I need some quick profile pictures in a set document, I can simply click and select these ones, go under data, go under faces, let's click on it, bam, we have some pictures of person's faces directly without having to go on Google or actually on Unsplash, or you know, whatever you're using for finding those faces. So let's wrap this lesson over here at this point, because I think we covered quite a bit. And at this stage, I would encourage you to actually go on SketchUp, try things out, try what you learned in this lesson. And at this point, you know, it's just about experimenting and seeing some other videos to bring your knowledge even further. So I hope this lesson was useful, and I'll see you in the next one.